Come in. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As members of George Washington's cabinet, the purpose of today's meeting is to debate your views and opinions on what is best for our future. First, I want to introduce both of you to our audience and for you to tell us a little about your background. Hamilton, you may go first.
Thank you. My name is Alexander Hamilton, and as you know already, I am currently serving as George Washington's Secretary of Treasury. I was born on January 11th, 1757, on Nevis, an island in the Caribbean and part of the British West Indies. My father was a Scottish man, and my mother, a French woman, who was married to someone else at the time, but I was born, unfortunately, when my mother separated from her husband and moved in with my father. My father took off and left my mother and me alone. When I was 13, my mother died, leaving me without parents. I had a job at an accounting firm, and I worked hard to prove I was eager to learn, and I could learn quickly. My bosses were so impressed, they sent me to New York so I could attend King's College. While I was there, my interest quickly turned to politics, and I wrote my first political paper. In 1775, at the time of the Revolutionary War, I joined the New York Providential Company, and this is where I met General George Washington. We became trusted friends, and eventually, this is how I ended up being the Secretary of the Treasury.
You may go now, Jefferson.
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Jefferson. I was born on April 13th, 1754, in Shadwell, Virginia. My family was a prominent family, and we were owners of a large plantation. I grew up differently than Mr. Hamilton. I grew up in an elite society. I attended the College of William and Mary. I was a great supporter of America's independence, and I was the person who wrote the first draft of the Declaration of Independence. I became a prominent lawyer and also a member of the Virginia House of Burgess. After that, I was appointed to the Second Continental Congress, which created the Continental Army. We were responsible for appointing George Washington as Commander-in-Chief. I later went on to become the second governor of Virginia, and after 2 years serving as a governor, I then became the U.S. Minister to France. After 5 years, I returned from France, where George Washington was looking for me to accept my current position as the Secretary of State.
You both have very different positions in politics, Mr. Hamilton. You are a Federalist, and Mr. Jefferson, you are a Democratic Republican. Please tell us how these two newly created parties differ.
Even though I grew up as a poor child, I favor the wealthy, well-educated, and elite people. These are merchants, manufacturers, landowners, and who work in the shipping industry. These people are mostly located in the north. I favor a strong commerce and central government that is of Great Britain. It worked there, and there is no reason it can't work here. I do not want to share the powers with states and local governments. I feel having a central government is the way for us to remain strong.
And Mr. Jefferson, do you not agree with Mr. Hamilton's opinion?
No, I don't agree with Mr. Hamilton. In fact, even though I grew up in an elite society, my family was landowners and we were wealthy. I support those who are less fortunate. I support the small farmers, shoe keepers, the poor, and uneducated. I believe that the state and local governments should have shared power with the federal government. Giving all power to the federal government only favors the rich, as they are the people who most benefit from it. The wealthy, who are all for a central government, look only for their benefit and not look to help the other people, the poor and common people. Shared power by the states would provide power to the small farmers and laborers, giving them a vote and say on what would happen, help them further themselves. More voices will help all in need. Now just make the rich get richer.
Mr. Hamilton, you said that you are for a strong central government. Anything else go with that?
Yes, in addition to a strong central government, I believe that a national bank is necessary. A strong government backed up by only a strong economy is how to stay strong. I have proposed a national bank to be created, one that the government would have a small stake in, and the board of directors would be made up of private investors and individuals. This way, there would be a mix of people running the bank. I also proposed that there be a constellation of state and federal debt. Although this establishment of the national bank, the government would be allowed to borrow from it. The national bank also must have the ability to make paper money. The money created would make America now have a standard money system, and this would allow business to borrow on credit. By giving the business credit, they can grow their businesses to produce more and trade, which helps our economy grow stronger.
Mr. Jefferson, your thoughts?
No, I don't fully agree with the creation of a national bank. The reason is that there is the danger of the bank producing too much paper currency. If too much paper money is given, and there is not enough gold or silver after being retained to back it up, this could lead to a huge economic loss. I also feel that with the creation of the national bank, it would also make it harder for state banks to be developed and maintained. However, my biggest issue with the national bank proposal is that it being created unconstitutionally. The power and the authority of the government to create such a bank would not provide in for the Constitution, and therefore should not be created at all.
Mr. Hamilton, can you remark on this?
Yes, I can. My position is that constitutional and that the Constitution's preamble, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 18 of the Amendment 10, has a clause commonly known as the elastic clause. We propose that the national bank be created based on the words, "It is proper and necessary."
And where does the creation of the national bank stand?
My proposal to create the national bank has passed the House and Senate. In fact, it has passed very easily. However,
Mr. Jefferson, do you know what Mr. Hamilton is referring to?
Yes, in fact, I do. In order for the national bank, which was proposed to be based in Philadelphia, to be developed, we are not willing to go along unless the capital, which is located in New York, was moved to a more southern location. We have agreed that the capital being moved to the District of Columbia, along with the banks to Potomac River. We feel that instead of both the political and economic power of all in the north by the capital moving further south, that the two people are split.
I'd say that that was a compromise and one that makes sense. So in summary, we can see that both of you have very different supporters, come from very different backgrounds, but your common ground in all of this is how you believe our nation can grow strong and independent. Thank you for your time today, and I wish you both luck in your future. I think you can each do well guiding our country.